Hey guys, we are back with some revenge from Reddit. Lie about having COVID to take 6 weeks off while I do your work for free. I throw an all office party to announce where you really were. Ooh, OP is spicy. Mid-pandemic, my boss disappeared. Just as we were gathering up for our most challenging, time-insensitive project in the last 5 years, he dropped off the face of the earth. The audacity. We kept working for a week or so without him, because everything was virtual and the virtual work world was still so new we didn't really need him. We were delegating tasks ourselves and completing things on our own. We spoke to coworkers maybe twice a week. That's more than enough. If you work on a computer, you really don't need an office to go to in the morning. I think we learned so much about that in the past couple of years. But some decisions were beyond our discretion, so we could not move forward on those aspects of the project until we received a response from him. Kind of funny, he couldn't even show up for online meetings. Was his vacation on another planet or what? After about 7 to 10 total days of silence, we called his boss's boss, who informed our team that our boss had COVID, so wasn't able to work right now. We took that at face value, of course, sent him letters of well wishes and didn't bother him with work stuff. Or ask why he was able to notify his boss but not us. He probably felt like he didn't owe you anything. 3 weeks go by, still not a word. We are beginning to discuss amongst ourselves whether or not he's maybe died. We are terrified and horrified and so concerned. If he would have died, you would have known already. We are contemplating calling his extended family. We are sending flowers and care packages to his apartment. Ah, that's so nice. Bit much, but nice. Meanwhile, the project has descended into chaos because no leader was appointed in our boss's stead. So we were forced to navigate several layers of bureaucracy in order to accomplish most anything at all. Whereas in the past, we would have just signed off in real time. I would say it's weird that your team didn't receive a new leader. But if this was at the beginning of 2020, there was a very hard time for companies. And they had to deal with so much chaos that happened all at once. So I think because when it happened, it is understandable. Around week 4 or 5, one of our coworkers suggests he doesn't really have COVID, but is instead using it as an excuse to take time off. The weird part isn't that he planned that, but why would he admit to it? We all jump all over our coworker, asking how he could insinuate something like that, and lamenting about what a tragedy our boss is probably living through. Ah, you sweet summer child. People were chilly to him for days after that. Week 7. We are undertaking a letter writing campaign to upper management demanding an acting boss be appointed while ours is recovering. Really? They still didn't act on it after 7 weeks? That's insane. The project is a month behind schedule. We are all working overtime every day, sometimes on weekends without extra compensation, just to keep up with the clusterfuck of the boss's sudden absence. Bestie, absolutely not. You don't work for free. Week 8. He finally reappears logging into a morning meeting as though nothing happened. He looks well rested, well fed, and has a tan. Not at all like someone who just came out of the other side of a 6-week respiratory virus. Of course not. That was pretty obvious after like week 2 that he were never sick. He says something quickly to the effect of, "Yeah, that was brutal. Glad to be better and glad to be back. Let's get to work." Dude, shut the f*** up. But doesn't want to talk about what happened or answer any of our questions like, were you in the hospital? What was it like? Etc. 8 weeks probably wasn't enough to come up with deliberate lies. Fast forward to about 4 or 5 months after this. My sister sends me a promo for a fairly new reality show. I'd never heard of it, but it's on a major platform. I swear I've seen him and you together. Are you kidding with me? It's not even that he went on vacation. He really had the audacity to go on a reality show while the company was crumbling. What a scumbag. I watched the trailer for this show and lo and behold, there was my boss participating as a contestant on a reality TV show. Tell me he got fired after this, because there is no way in hell he can keep this in a secret. If you and your sister saw, others gonna see it too, and he can't just get away with this. At least, I really hope he cannot. It did not take long for me to put the pieces together and realize he took extended leave to go on TV that he knew he wouldn't otherwise get during this massive project, and lied about it under a guise of a vicious disease that nearly all of us had lost a loved one to. Yeah, it is super messed up to do something like this. If he would have went on holiday but still work remotely, that would be one thing. But this is very over the line. I cannot imagine any company that would keep him after they figure it out. I sit and stew with this information, unsure of how to handle it. You report it. Duh. I know confronting him won't get me very far, but I can't just do nothing, right? Right. I am not close enough with any of my colleagues to discuss this with them and trust that they wouldn't run off and send an all-company email about it. So I slept on it a few nights and then the opportunity fell right in my lap. I got an email from corporate encouraging teams still working remotely to plan visual social functions to keep a collegial culture going and to stay in touch. Among the suggestions were game night, trivia, and a watch party. Are you guys gonna watch your boss's reality show? That's pretty savage. I approve. With the premiere of the show only a couple of weeks away, I got busy telling everyone how I'd been meaning to get into this show. And it's so enticing and exciting, basically laying the groundwork to guilt them into coming to an impromptu virtual watch party of ours. I offered to get special shirts made up and send them to each person's house. Wow, you really go all in, bestie. As you should. Whatever I had to do to get the attention of corporate. This is the perfect plan to let them know without being a snitch, I'm proud of you. Finally, I sent an invite to all my boss's bosses and any other members of corporate I could justify inviting without making a total ass of myself. Oh, nobody's gonna care about who invited them. Because this is entirely virtual, my boss is unable to overhear any of the chatter. He doesn't realize I'm hyping up this show and he doesn't realize I've planned a watch party for it. I wasn't inviting him unless he had the balls to explicitly ask about it. I was hoping he wouldn't have heard about it at all, not until afterwards. That was really the only way this could work. The night comes and I am screen sharing the show to a whopping 64 people. Wow, he got audience. A huge chunk of my department. Many members of corporate had shown up because I was the only person stupid enough to buy into their virtual social work party scheme, so they felt pressured to support it. Probably it was the most useful thing they did the whole year. I was holding my breath, hoping this would go my way, bracing myself for some kind of curveball. But there wasn't even that dramatic of a build-up. Right at the outset, they introduced the premise, which included the contestants being in a COVID-safe bubble in an exotic location, and gave a brief overview of each contestant. As my boss was introduced right down to what he did for work, and I could see people register delight and surprise, then go blank just before sliding into confusion and rage. Best team building party ever. The chat took a drastic turn from "oh my goodness" and "I knew him when" and all sorts of pity jokes to a brave member of my team. Or perhaps one just pushed a tad too far by all the extra hours he pulled in this douche's absence. Send a message. Wait, when was this filmed? During those 8 weeks when you were doing overtime and not getting paid for it. My audience dropped from 64 to 58 to mid-30s, and by the time of the episode was over, it was just me and the other 15 core members of the team. Yes, because the other people had to have an emergency meeting to figure out how to deal with your boss's behavior. One asked if I'd already known, but some members of the team are very close to the boss, so all I said was, well, I definitely do now. That was the perfect answer, OP. And wrapped up the call pretty quickly after that. Perhaps one of the best bonuses is that you could already tell from episode 1 that the character arc that the show assigned to our boss was bumbling idiot. That's the perfect description, isn't it? He had his true colors on in full display, and some production massaging upped them to the 11th degree. Boss was fired. My good buddy was promoted to his place. I am on Office Legend now, especially since no one is 100% sure whether or not it was intentional. OP, don't be shy, you are also a Reddit legend. And it was also satisfying that it was almost worth the dozens of hours of uncompensated overtime that led to it. Edit. Title should be 8 weeks. I kept not factoring in the first couple weeks because we weren't suspicious or burdened until the final 6. The absolute audacity to using the global pandemic as PTO is psychotic behavior. Your boss really deserved to be fired. That was the only move they could do. The way how you planned the watch party and invited higher-ups was very smart. The fact that your coworkers are confused if it was planned or not makes it even more legendary. Never clarify. Ever. Tracked down and confronted Lyft driver that stole my AirPods. Really? We are stealing AirPods now? I was visiting some friends in another city and I dropped my AirPods in the back of a Lyft leaving a bar. Realized the next morning, sent the guy a lost item report. He claims he doesn't have them. I go back home and forget about it. Until about a day later, I see and find that they were being charged and actively used. I see them moving all around the city as a driver would. Really now? Freaking AirPods? You know you can listen to your music aloud in your car, right? Now, I'm not usually a spiteful person, but that was brazen theft. Unlucky for him, I had some free time and 2 weeks later, I tracked him down in a car with those same friends. Find mine led us to a Chuck E. Cheese and we find his car in the lot. I explained the situation to the security guard and showed him a picture of the Lyft driver. The security guard led us right to him. I asked him, "Are you named?" To which he nervously responded, "Yes." I just bluntly said, "You stole my AirPods." That is so embarrassing. His family had to all leave to the Chuck E. Cheese to his car parked in the lot, and I got to watch him awkwardly put them back in the case and hand them to me. I felt bad, but come on, doing that is insane. Why did you feel bad? Maybe he shouldn't steal next time. I love how you guys track him down 2 weeks later. But my favorite part is how the security guard immediately cooperating. Zero hesitation, king behavior. Honestly, this was the cleanest possible outcome. No drama, no yelling, just return the AirPods, sir. I hope you guys enjoyed today's stories. If you did, please subscribe and see you in the next one.